Are you finding that things are just grouchier at home? If this describes you, you are not alone. I've got some tips that I think can really help. My name is Jenna Fleming, so I wanted to share with you some tips from a method called TBRI, which stands for Trust-Based Relational Intervention. So these tips are from their empowerment principle. Empowerment principle basically means seeing the need and meeting the need. It comes from the idea that most of the behavior that we don't like to see in ourselves or in others comes from an unmet need, a physiological or a physical need, an environmental need, sometimes there's an emotional need, but the empowerment principle really focuses on those two categories of the physiological and the ecological or environmental needs. So I wanted to break those apart, and hopefully it will give you some good tools for yourself, with your kids, with your spouse, and overall just to have a happier home. So let's break these apart. First, with the physiological needs. One of those old commercials from Snickers, you know, the ones where the guys are hanging out in the car and one of them turns into a diva and he's just acting grouchy or whatever, and you see Liza Minnelli or something on there. It's kind of funny, and the guys give him a Snickers and all of a sudden he turns back to himself. So we all laugh because we can relate to that idea of being grouchy when we're really hungry, and we call it hanger. And just ask my family, they don't want to see me hangry. It's no fun for anyone. I just need a snack and a break and usually some water, and then I'm back to myself. Well, when our physical needs are not met, the truth is we just don't act like ourselves. So some things that you might not realize are not tended to the way they used to be are things like hydration, diet, sleep, exercise, sunshine, getting enough vitamin D. You know, there's so many things that our old way of being and doing, our old normal, fed us, that once we got out of the routine, maybe we got into some bad habits. So the first area of things that you can start looking at is, what is the sleep routine of my children? Are they up all night? Am I turning off screens before it's bedtime? Usually at least an hour is ideal, because the screen lights trigger our brain to keep chemically us awake. So you want to turn off screens about an hour before bed. What are my kids eating? I say, if you eat junky food, you feel really junky, and you usually act really junky too. The reason for this is highly processed foods, or foods with a lot of added sugar, make our blood sugar spike up and down in these like big giant hills and valleys, and that makes us feel pretty grouchy. So if you could have healthier eating options, and preferably protein throughout the day, that's going to help to balance out blood sugar, that could help with behavior and patience on parents as well. Hydration, that's another really big one. It's getting warmer here in Georgetown, Texas. For the most part, it's kind of on and off, I guess. But a lot of times when we're stressed or anxious, we metabolize differently because it does impact our physiology and our nervous system. And so we don't realize that we're not getting enough water. You may not realize it because, you know, you're at home, you don't think about it, you're out of your routine. And so you want to make sure your kids are getting enough water, you're getting enough water, getting enough sleep, eating right, getting exercise, getting some sunshine. Sunshine actually increases some of the serotonin in our brain. Serotonin is a happy chemical. Exercise increases endorphins. Endorphins is a happy chemical. So it's just good for our overall well-being. So again, that's meeting the physiological or the physical needs. That's one part of this principle. The other part that I wanted to just briefly touch on has to do with our ecological or our environment. So sometimes kids just aren't focused in school, in their homeschool routine or whatever, and it could be that there are some simple environmental things that you can do to change it around and help set them up for better success. So for instance, just practical ideas is, does your child have an adequate space at your house to do their homeschooling? Is there a special place where they're learning? A lot of teenagers, and I have an almost teenager right now, they want to be in their bed working, and while it can work for some people, and maybe it works with your kids, and that's okay. But if it's not working, it's not working. And truly, if you're working, generally speaking, the idea is not to bring your work into your bed, because you want to associate bed with sleep, and it actually can get you off your sleep cycle if you start doing a lot of other activities like schoolwork and stuff in bed. Plus, it's just not ideal for like posture and all of that. So a good space for learning, also a good routine for learning, and that goes back to sort of those sleep needs and stuff. Is there a certain time when the school hours begin? Do we have a rhythm, a routine? Do your kids and your family have some sort of expectancy throughout the week or throughout the day, some sort of ritual? It could be as simple as silly songs you sing before bedtime or reading a bedtime story. It could be game nights on Fridays or special time in the evening that you come together or watch movies or whatever. But all of those little rituals, all those little routines, all those little points of connection actually helps to ground us in feeling safe and secure in our environment, and also having something that kind of feels normal to us in a time when there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of strange things happening, and honestly a lot of unknowns for all of us. So I'm sharing these tips really from a parenting perspective, which is what TBRI is focused on. But this is good stuff for all of us. I know I need to think about my physiological and also my ecological needs. It helps with my overall well-being. So I hope this is useful to you. I'm wishing you wellness. We really care about you, even though we're in different boats, we're in the same storm, and we're not going to leave you. We really care about you, Georgetown. We really care about you, Texas, and we are wishing you all well.